I've been on the road for almost 3.5 years, traveling through mostly Ecuador and now parts of Colombia. And it's been amazing. I've been outside of Canada for the past 11 months. Now, something that I realized lately, and this is kind of a mental health, psychological health, public service announcement, that if you're spending long periods of time away from your home, on the road, or if you're just feeling disconnected, what I'm realizing is that everywhere I go, I'm leaving little pieces of myself. And over time, those accumulate. And recently, I got a wake-up call that showed me some blind spots that I really need to address. Hola, bienvenidos amigos. Hello and welcome friends. Steve here, Street Smart Travel. Back in Canada for a brief visit after almost a year away and realizing it was too long and I won't be doing that again. Today I had a different episode I was going to do, and then I realized I've had a lot of stuff on my mind recently, had some pretty heavy conversations before leaving Ecuador and a couple really emotionally draining days, and that sat with me for about 2 weeks, and I finally came out of that funk and realized this is the video that I need to do today. So if you've been watching the videos on the channel, you know I've been traveling through South America, volunteering for the last 3.5 years, having a great time. I don't regret any of it. That's not what this video is about. But recently I realized that transient lifestyle and spending a week or a month or a little bit longer in places, you get to know the community, you get plugged into the family, you put down some kind of roots, knowing that you can start building some connections, but they're temporary and you're going to be moving on. And on that note, I was at the last place in Ecuador, my kind of home base up in the northern part on a farm. There were 2 other volunteers there this time. And the youngest one was leaving the day after I was leaving. And about 3 days before that, they told me, I've got a knot in the pit of my stomach. I'm really dreading leaving here. Like it's going to be really emotionally difficult because I'm so happy here and everything's great and I don't want to leave. And I told her, yes, like I've been doing this for 3.5 years. Trust me, I know exactly what you're talking about. You leave a piece of you everywhere that you go. And over time, that accumulates. And you can't develop deep roots like you have at home, like the friends I have here in Canada for 30, 40 plus years. I can't do that when I'm on the road spending a week or a month in a place. It doesn't mean it's not a great experience or it's not a great time. It just means that it can be emotionally draining when you're volunteering in a place and it's a really good fit, and then you decide, or time decides, you need to move on. And that can accumulate over time, and if you don't address it, it can hit you really hard. And that's kind of where I've been for the last couple weeks, transitioning from Ecuador, coming up to Canada. There was another volunteer who was, let's say, closer to my age. And it's pretty amazing that I met somebody on this gig that I could have real conversations with about life, about health, about loss, about time on the road, just about things that you don't generally talk about. And they could hang with uncomfortable and difficult conversations, and we exchanged stories about our various health challenges and people we lost along the way, and just real life conversations. You don't always get those on the road. And then there were a couple events that were really emotionally draining and difficult to take, and all that stuff kind of piled on, and I realized through the last couple of weeks of not being in a great place mentally, not a bad place, but just uncomfortable. I couldn't process whatever was going on, these feelings that were going through my mind. I couldn't let them go. I couldn't focus on anything else. And I wasn't sure, when is this going to pass? And thankfully, yesterday morning, everything clarified. Not sure why. Super glad it did, because that was no fun. But I learned a lot of lessons from it, and I realized that if I pay attention to these gentle nudges or these uncomfortable feelings and thoughts, I can take them and use those lessons to modify my approach. I'm still going to continue traveling and volunteering and doing what I'm doing, but I think I need to make some changes, and hopefully these translate to people that aren't on the road all the time. You can take these same lessons and apply them to your life to feel more connected, more grounded, and happier and more balanced in your day-to-day life. So coming back to Canada after being gone for almost a year, normally I would come back twice a year. Once in the spring, once in the fall. I'd be gone for about 5 months at a time. That was pretty easy to take, and I'm used to that rhythm because that was my rhythm working 15 years on cruise ships. Work a 6-month contract, come home for a month or a month and a half, do another 6 months, and I would keep in touch with people that way, maintain my roots, but I would be gone for most of the time. Being gone for a year was a totally different thing, because when I returned, there had been a lot of changes, and I didn't feel like I belonged here. I was gone for that long that it took more time to settle in, to reconnect with my roots. I've lived in this place for over 50 years. This is my home. But I've been gone now for a number of years, and it gets more difficult the longer I'm away. So for me, a big message of the video is to maintain your roots. Stay connected to the people that are important to you in your life. You don't have to be on the road to lose connection with people. People get married, they move, they get divorced, they end up in different places, people grow apart, whatever it is. But if you have connections with people in your life that you've had for 20, 30, 40 or more years, and you share deep values and life experiences and a history with these people, those are worth maintaining. And later in this video, I'll unpack how I'm going to apply that to my travel plans going forward, so I can take those lessons, make some minor tweaks in what I've been doing for the last 3.5 years, and put myself in a much more enjoyable and comfortable and sustainable place, especially mentally and psychologically. And when I'm on the road, I don't get lonely, ever. It's not an emotion I experience. I'll feel solitude. I love solitude. And sometimes, it's isolating on the farm. Everybody goes to bed really early, and there's no common place to hang out that isn't freezing, because it gets pretty cold up there. And I'm fine with that. But over time, and again, having these conversations and these emotionally draining experiences really focused me on some uncomfortable feelings and some ideas like, I could actually adjust what I'm doing to make it more sustainable, to make it more anti-fragile, make it much more enjoyable, and pay these tips forward. Especially if you're on the road and you're experiencing these things, don't fold. There's always a way through them. Look at the lessons that they're trying to teach you and make some adjustments in what you're doing. And if you're not on the road, same thing. Reach out to people that are important to you in your life and maintain those connections to your roots. That's the foundational lesson from this video. Some lessons that I've learned over the past couple weeks. Freedom has a cost. I have total freedom on the road. I come and go when I want. I stay as long as it's possible to stay, or as long as it feels good to stay, and then I decide, that's enough, I'm moving on. And I can put down some routes. I made a lot of connections. I know a lot of people throughout Ecuador and parts of Colombia. This year, 2026, when I finish off my permanent resident time in Ecuador, my plan was, and still is, to check out and revisit the hosts and the places that I like the most after exploring the country for the last 3.5 years. Spending more time, spending months as opposed to weeks in places, deepening connections, establishing more relationships, and ideally spending more time closer to cities. I don't like cities. I like some of the things cities have to offer. In the campo, I'm not going to find, one of the trade-offs, big trade-off, I'm not going to find yoga classes. But if I'm living just outside of a place like Cuenca or Quito or a big city, I'm accessible to the city. I can go in and take a yoga class, or teach a meditation class, or go see a show, or maybe even do some jamming with a band. I really miss that. That stuff doesn't exist in the campo. It can't. So I'm realizing if I modify what I'm doing just a little bit, geographically and time-wise, I can still travel and be on the road, but I could be making more connections, deeper connections, and feeding parts of my life that are really important that I've really been neglecting. I think I've learned about all I can from life in the campo, in the jungle, in the rainforest, in terms of living like a local and really having a full cultural immersion experience. And I don't regret any of those. They were fantastic. I think it's time to modify my system, modify my approach, so I'm spending longer periods of time in places that have more to offer in terms of, like I said, yoga, meditation, music, things of that nature, and communities and groups, like meetup groups, being able to meet more similar, like-minded people and enjoy time with them and see the same people over and over again, as opposed to this constant revolving door, which has been my life for the last 3.5 years. It's been amazing, but I think that is the big lesson. Spend more time in one place. Another lesson, as I've stressed throughout the video, stay in touch with your roots. I'm at an age where it's not likely, if I make connections today, they might not last for 40 years. Like, I'll be 95 40 years from now. Maybe I make it, who knows? But the The connections I have in Canada that have existed for 20, 30, 40 plus years, those ones I can maintain, and I'm happy to maintain, coming back ideally twice a year and being in touch with those people face to face. If you're on the road, you can always FaceTime or do things online. But the point is, it's a very different experience for me when I'm face to face with somebody in their living room, or we go for a walk in the park, or we have a coffee or go out for a drink or see a show. That's a totally different level of connection than doing anything online. Being face to face online, better than not, certainly, but nowhere near the same as the connection that I feel when I'm in someone's living room, when I'm knee to knee with them, or we go to dinner or hang out face to face. I'll be doing a lot more of that when I'm back here this time, and making sure that I prioritize that going forward for all future visits. And these are things, again, you don't have to be on the road to feel this lack in your life. If you feel, yeah, it would be nice to go and get face to face with my neighbors, or friends that I haven't seen for a while, or family, or whoever it is, reconnect to your roots, to the important people in your life. So I can guarantee you, at the end of your life, you're not going to care about your material possessions at all. You're going to care about the important people in your life, the time that you've spent with them, the memories that you've shared. Those are the things you take with you. Everything else gets left behind. It's meaningless. It won't matter at all. And being on the road, you learn a lot of those lessons really quickly. And those are lessons that I'm taking forward after 3.5 years, traveling non-stop. And I plan to travel a lot more, but I will be focusing my travel in different ways and focusing more on staying closer to communities and spending more time in communities to make deeper connections. Still going to be leaving a little piece of me everywhere I go, but it'll be much fewer places and deeper connections. I've left many pieces of myself in many of the places that I visited over the last 3.5 years. That's not a flaw in the system. That's a trade-off of living the way that I choose to live, traveling, volunteering, serving people all over. It's fantastic. I don't regret any of it, but there are trade-offs. You trade stability for possibility. You trade roots for movement. And you can have both of those things. It's not an either-or proposition. For me, it's a both-and. It's a balancing act. I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to figure it out, but I'm getting closer. And through some chance encounters and experiences over the last few weeks, just before I left Ecuador and came back to Canada, and now getting back in touch with my friends here in Canada, it's really outlining for me what's important. How do I maintain contact with my roots? Even if I was living here, I'd only be seeing people maybe once or twice a year, maybe. So the fact that I come back once or twice a year, I can prioritize that entire time, 3 weeks, a month, whatever it is, 6 weeks this time, to make sure that I connect with people, visit them, get face to face with them. I make sure that I prioritize that. And a big lesson that I'm taking from this recent mental funk that I just finally, thankfully, come out of, is that I need to apply a similar approach when I'm on the road. I need to have communities that I can be in touch with. I have contacts, and that's a start, but I need to build deeper roots and have contacts in terms of activities that I like to do, or groups of people that do things that I enjoy doing, like meetups here, and be able to go out and enjoy those activities with similar groups of people and the same people, as opposed to the constant revolving door. I'm from Canada, born and raised, lived here 50 years. I have a lot of deep roots, and I can't take those with me on the road. My friends aren't coming and enjoying these adventures with me. They have no desire to do that. But we share a long history and a lot of values and stories and great memories, and I'm not letting those go. So, like I said earlier, if you're in a place where you're feeling kind of disconnected, or you wish you had more stability or friends or community in your life, make that a priority. Join a meetup group. Call people you haven't been in touch with that you have a long history with, and reestablish those connections. And please, below, if you've had to deal with any of that, if you've moved cities or lived in different parts of the world and lost contact with people that were important to you, how did you navigate that? Did you find ways to cope? Did you put down new roots? Did you reach out to your friends? What was the bridge? What was the solution? I'd love to hear your stories, because this is one that I think affects a lot of people. Nobody talks about this stuff. Everybody's looking at their travel highlight reel. Oh, I did this cool thing and that great thing, and it's amazing. yeah, there's a dark side to it as well. Maintain those connections to your roots. I think for me, that's the biggest takeaway. And establish new roots in new places with new communities. And spend enough time to build them. If you got value from this, please drop a like. I'd love to hear your comments. Any questions, drop them below. Happy to answer them. Thanks for stopping by. Happy trails. See you out on the road next Saturday.